Yeah, let's continue where we left off. One from the amazing halachas in Hilchos Chanukah is I'm going to start off with a Ramah, which is very important to know because this is what I call against common conventional wisdom. Someone goes to the Rav and asks him a question, and the Rav says you have to be machmer. And then the guy's walking away, the Rav calls him back, you see the Rav is thinking, and he says, is it like a very difficult situation? It's like a shas adchak. And says, yeah, it actually is a shas adchak for whatever reason it is. And the Rav says, okay, so you could be mekel. Now, the Rav says you should be mekel, so you'll be mekel. How do you feel about that, being mekel? Mark, how do you feel? Okay,
Not
that's
great.
a good answer. You answered like an Israeli. That was in a Brit. So, like, you know, what's the bottom line? What is the halacha? Is it mutter? Is it off?
Both.
Bonus on me?
Both.
Who's the
Yeah.
president of the United States? Both. What kind of answer is that? Both.
Shas adchak is one thing, and secondly, is that circumstances change. So because the circumstances change, so the halacha changes also.
Yeah. How could that be? Isn't the halacha absolute?
No.
Okay, so we can do with it what we please.
No. That you can't. Definitely not.
So
Definitely not.
What can you do and what can't you do? I would like to ask you people a question. And this is not my question. This is an age-old question. And there's many answers given, but they all revolve around the same thing. I'm asking a question. How many candles do I have to light on each night of Hanukkah?
One.
I challenge anybody to find me where it says that in Shulchan Aruch.
It doesn't say it.
How could that be?
What about an ani? An ani that doesn't say anything there about an ani that can't afford it. So if he lights one candle, he's yotzei.
Well, you don't have to be an ani. Even if a rich man lights one candle, he's yotzei.
Okay, that's true too. But to be mahader, you light more.
So when someone asks the rabbi, how many candles am I supposed to light on Hanukkah? What's the rabbi supposed to answer?
Usually he answers one each night. One each night.
Is that what the rabbi's supposed to answer?
Well, you light 8 candles, and each and every night you light an additional one.
Is that what you think? Is that what you think the rabbi should say? If that would be what the rabbi should say, it would say it in Shulchan Aruch. It doesn't say that in Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch skips the halacha and goes straight to the chumrah. I'm just pointing out what it says. Now, I'd like to share with you the Ramah. What? Yeah, that's correct.
Well, once people are mekabel, we're mekabel it as a whole, so it doesn't become the default.
I don't know. If that would be the case, then you'd have to.
Unless you have other circumstances, you're supposed to do that, right?
So, well, all you guys could be lawyers. I wish I could translate those words. What does supposed to mean? You're supposed to be a tzaddik. You're supposed to do a lot of things. But The bottom line is, Al Pi Halacha, one candle is enough. Shulchan Aruch doesn't say it. And there's part of the methodology is as follows. The Ramah writes in his Akdama to his Sefer on Yerodea, he says, that which I say you could be mekel b'shas hatchak or b'sudas mitzvah or whatever those, we use that word, cliches are that one could be mekel. The reason why you could be mekel is because that's the halacha. However, under normal circumstances, we're supposed to go above halacha. The halacha in Shulchan Aruch always, I don't know, always is not the right word, but it's generally geared to tell you what you're supposed to do, not the minimum of what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do. Shulchan Aruch was written about what you're supposed to do, not pass fail. And the Ramah writes, when the situation is shas hatchak, then you're allowed to do the halacha. Not like conventional wisdom that when it's shas hatchak, you do below the halacha. When it's shas hatchak, you do the halacha. When it's not shas hatchak, now here's the word, all this I said was just to say this, you're mechuyev to do more than the halacha. A fascinating Ramah. Okay? Now, even after having said that, I'm not saying that this is exactly always going to be exactly the same, but here too, on Purim, on Chanukah, we are demanded that Shulchan Aruch skips the halacha on purpose and tells us that we have to do more than the halacha b'miuchad on Chanukah, and there are many reasons given for that. But I'm just pointing that out. Kamaneros Madlik. We're Tafresh Ayin Aleph Sif Beis. Kamaneros Madlik. Balayla Risha Madlik Echad. Mikan ve'elech Moisef v'hoylech b'chol yom b'chol layla. Ad she'v'lela achron yiyeh shmoina. He lights one, and the second night he lights two. V'afilam Rab Minei Bayis. Lo Yadlik Yosef. And this is a machlekes, which I don't want to get so involved in it, but I just want to make it clear that you light Hanukkah candles one night, and then you continue to light it the next night. What do I mean to say? Because the point is, you have to be a moisef v'hoylech. The halakha of the second night is in tandem to the first night. I would just like to mention that it's not exactly correct what I just said. What would be the halacha if a person was unconscious for whatever reason it was the first 3 nights of Hanukkah? How many candles does he light the fourth?
4.
So is he a moisef v'hoylech?
No, everybody is. He's not.
So maybe he should light one. Ellie, don't laugh because I'm going to ask you to explain why not. If you're laughing.
Maybe
Anyway.
he should make a bracha when maybe he should make a bracha if he missed.
He should or shouldn't?
Maybe he should not make a bracha if he missed.
Maybe he should make a bracha. Yeah, okay. I accept that question.
I don't think you should separate from the tzibur.
What?
I don't think you should separate from the tzibur. Everybody else is lighting 4, he lights 4.
I want you to know that I light in my house. I don't like the tzibur.
Most of the holiday is part of Sumenisa.
I'm asking, he's not a moisef v'hoylech.
All of our mitzvahs be most of the holiday.
That's
the
the
Sumenisa. That tonight is the fourth night.
Klai counted. It counted.
Sumenisa is tonight is the
Didn't
fourth
count for
night.
some crazy reason. I don't know.
For Sumenisa, tonight's the fourth night. Tomorrow night's the fifth night, etc.
I think, listen, I know that these kinds of questions really exasperate people, and it's good because you don't fall asleep on me. But I would like to suggest that I think that the answer lies in something far simpler than what you are answering the question with. Why do you light 2 candles the second night, and 3 the third.
Mostly v'holech.
What is Moisef V'holech? The miracle, the miracle of Moisef V'holech. You are lighting a candle commemorating a Moisef V'holech. So it's true that the Lashon of Shulchan Aruch is that you're Moisef V'holech, but you're Moisef V'holech because the Chagiga of Leil Shlishi is a Moisef V'holech on the Chagiga of Leil Rishon and Leil Sheni. Whether you lit or not is irrelevant. What? Yeah, anybody buy what I'm selling?
No.
Oh,
You're
I love honest people. Yeah.
you're the whole idea of lighting is also Pishun Misa. So and by lighting more, so you're being more Mephardes. If you lit only one, it would seem as if it's one only.
No, I agree. I agree, but I'm just saying when I am lighting 5 lights on the 5th night, the reason why I'm lighting 5 is because the candles on the menorah will still burning for 5 days later. The Moisef V'holech was in the original mace, and I light in connection to that.
I don't think so.
You don't
No.
think so?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Why
think-
do I light Moisef V'holech?
In order to each day to be Mephardes, the fact that it didn't only last one day. Look, it's the 5th day, and it was still lit. The candles were still burning.
So you're commemorating that. So you're commemorating that nace that happened on the 5th day. We're friends.
Okay.
We're in agreement. Don't
Yeah,
look
okay.
so sad just because we're in agreement. It's not so. We're gonna argue later. Okay.
Okay.
Anyways. So this is the concept over here, and this comes to the following nafkamina, which is a big machlokes about, and I just like to mention it. What happens on the 3rd night of Hanukkah if you have 2 candles?
Light one.
Moisef
Okay.
V'holech.
I know,
The more
but
the
if you only had that, you have no choice. So just light one.
Why don't you light whatever you have?
Do you have enough for tomorrow? You might need enough for tomorrow.
I'll worry about tomorrow. We're Israelis. We're not in America. If we were worried about tomorrow, we wouldn't be here. Okay? The problem is you're in America because you're worried about today. We're worried about, we don't have a problem. Anyways, how many candles do you light? Did anybody at least enjoy the
I would
question?
still say one. I would still say
Sheffer,
one.
what do you say? Sheffer, what do you say?
There has to be a connection between the number of days and the number of lights. If you light 2 and it's the 3rd day, then it's a no-no. You don't know what it is.
Okay, so what you just said is I coerced you more or less to agree to my shot. That the Moisef V'holech isn't just on what you did. It has to be corresponding to the mess that happened. I will just tell you that this is actually a machlokes haposkim what to do. But according to the pshat that I'm saying, it works out very nicely. All right. Says the Ramah, V'yesh oimrim d'chol echad min vayis yadlik v'chein haminik pashut. That's what we do as Ashkenazim. V'yizor lite l'kol echad v'echad neroiso b'mokum miyuchad k'dei sheyeh heker ka'amaneres madlikin. I would like to tell you that in my house here in Ramat Beit Shemesh, I am always very excited because I get to be Makayim or Ramah that I don't get to be Makayim in Yerushalayim. The reason for that is that in Yerushalayim, all my kids, they have menorahs, that they light in their menorahs. here in Yerushalayim, Beit Shemesh, because of the issues of lateness and Erev Shabbos Chanukah, Kadosh Baruch Hu made it that it's like from the shortest Shabbosim of the year, and there's more traffic then than there is on rush hour on a regular day, and a host of challenges to overcome. So I have my kids, they light with those pre-packaged, you buy them what are they called? Whatever it is, whatever, those cups that you buy and everything is good to go. And they would line them up on the place where we light, and that's how they would light. The problem is, if my kids would be orderly fellows, you wouldn't even know if you were looking if the menorahs go this way or the menorah goes that way, right? You just have a table full of. So how would you know how many days it is? You look on a table, and I just use an example. This year, Shabbos Chanukah is the second night, right? Is that correct? What? No, it's the first day. You had the second night of Hanukkah. You look on the table and you see 6 candles. If I had 3 menorahs and you saw 6 candles, what would you say? I have 3 kids lighting. If you have no menorahs and I have 6 candles, maybe I have 6 people lighting. Maybe Shabbos left. Okay, that's also true. It's not clear. So the Ramah, who he's worried about this issue, and he's trying to answer the question that the Machaber has, that it has to be apparent, the nace in the hadlaka. It's not enough to light it. You have to have this Persuma Nisa. So he makes a directive. He says, you have to put the candles, each individual, in a different place, because the Pesumei Nisa is not only in the Hadlaka, it's also in the Birchas Haraya, in that which people can see afterwards. So in order to do that, we should have them have it. So what I did was, I got myself some of these choo-choo train menorahs, and I don't know what to call them otherwise than that, and I have my kids lighting them. So this way, it's apparent how many people are lighting the menorah. Okay, so it's very important. What did I just say in English? It's worthwhile to have a menorah. That's halacha l'maisa. That's a worthwhile idea. Even one person, no, because then it's in one place, we'll assume that it's one hadlaka. But what happens is most people, they have all the kids lighting the same window, the same, whatever. Okay.
You can have people in the same family that hold differently where to put the menorah. Like I put my menorah in the window facing the street, and one of my sons holds differently. He holds that you put the menorah outside the front door.
Okay.
So that's one solution, isn't it? Because if people have different sheeters, then you have menorahs positioned in different places.
I would like to say that you warm my heart, because most people find that when people in one house do different things, it causes strife. And you found it to be something that takes care of problems. Okay. But
well, it's a sheeter. My son's following a different sheeter, isn't it? To put it next to the door.
I would like to pick on you, but not personally. Okay. So don't take it personal. This joke was not invented by me and not today. They say the following story. This Jew came to Yisrael, and his kid came home from Cheder, and he said, you have to take Trumas and Meisers and all the fruit. And the father says to him, you mechutzef, my father was a very big tzaddik, and he was makbid on everything, and he never took Trumas and Meisers. So the kid says, where'd your father live? So he said, in Chutz La'aretz. No, nothing personal. The meaning of all of Klal Yisrael and Chutz La'aretz is to light the candles outside, inside. Okay? Anybody who tells me that their meaning is to light inside and they're speaking to me in English is speaking double talk. I would suggest that you hold 2 days Yontif, because that's your minute. You're not.
No, my son doesn't like outside the building. He lights in the hallway right opposite the door of our flat.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, but he considers that lighting outside, right?
Yes, yeah.
I'm not discussing where he lights it.
Oh.
If that's where he's lighting, I'd rather you light where you're lighting than where he's lighting, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
He could light it today, as far as I'm concerned. Anyways.
Question for this year that they're saying there's going to be a lockdown on Chanukah. Is there any reason to light outside?
100%.
Why?
100%. What?
Why?
Even when there's a lockdown, you're allowed to go on your block. People will be outside. Forget about I'm just avoiding your whole question. I mean, I don't know. I've in Tafshin Pei Aleph, I've been in lockdowns before, and there's still a time when it's Kol Regel Min Hashuk during lockdown time.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Anyways, why are you such a doomsday predictor? Anyways, you think somebody's manipulating the numbers or something like that? Anyways,
Absolutely.
Okay. Where's your faith? In HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I hope. Anyways, says the Mishnah Berurah, I just want to read this part. The Bir Halacha, Lo Yadik Yoisa, I Mishnah Berurah Atam, Lefi Zeke Sheroim Bebayis Bilal Shei Shedokim Shnei Neros, Yagishu V'Taisus Haner. Avol Adei Hashniya Shemadlikim B'Layla Rishon Haner L'Chol Echad B'Bnei Habayis. On the first day, you're already lighting for each individual. Ozim Yadliku B'Layla Shniya Shnayim L'Chol Echad. You're not going to have any hacker. I just would like to just mention that if we were learning an Iyun shir, being that I think everybody looking at least as Ashkenazim, I don't have to spend so much time on the Shittas HaMachaber, but the Shittas HaMachaber is the Shittas HaMachaber. It's nothing to sneeze at. It's actually even it's not the Machaber. What kind of idea is that lighting for each person in the house? What kind of idea is that at all? All right. If you have a receptacle that has a place for 2 wicks, you can use it for 2 people. Says the Mishnah Berurah. You have 2 different places to have the wicks hang out. The Kamash Lalon, the Afapisha, Bifnim Mena Mugdal and Psilos clothes, that means that, even though they're drinking out of the same trough, so to speak. Now, if somebody would read this carefully, I would like to suggest a chumrah over here. It's not very negea, so I'm not going to spend much time on it, but there's a chumrah over here. If a person would have a glass and you light 1 candle on the north side and 1 on the south side, according to what it says technically in the Mishnah Berurah, would that be okay? Anybody who has the Mishnah Berurah, look at the words of the Mishnah Berurah.
It'll be a little confusing, but it would be okay.
Which words in the Mishnah Berurah tell you it would be okay? I would like to suggest the Mishnah Berurah says it's not okay. It needs to have a place.
Physical separation.
It has to be each one in its own niche, its own nook. Is that what
So
it
it
says?
does. Yeah, it has. The holder where the candle goes into. That's a holder that has its own nook.
Yes, yes. I would like to repeat my question again.
Oh,
Okay? If a person has
Yeah.
a glass and he lights one candle on the one wick on the north side and one on the south side, is that good enough?
Depends how big your glasses.
The Mishnah says yes.
What does it say? Even you didn't say yes before. You said each one has its own place.
So there's one candle that has 2 wicks. So it says that's also good.
I didn't say that they're not touching each other. I'm going to read the Mishnah Brura again.
Okay.
I'm going to read the Mishnah Brura for the benefit of those who don't have it. What's the chiddush over here? The af al pi shemi bifnim ein muvdal in hapsilas klaus zemizeh, even though inside they're not separated. Mikomokom kivon shebemokom hanachosam bapeh min karshem shtayim nechshavos kishtayim.
Big your glasses, no?
Right. So if it's on each side of the glass, it's not minka that it's shtayim?
I don't know. What do you need?
Without giving the pen.
Two things. Yeah, that's the later one. He says that before, right? He says using it for 2 different people. But we'll see as we go on. And just saying it has to be, is it just enough that when you look at it, you see it as 2? If you could see them as 1, and I don't want to get very pyromanic over here like the parents over here, but if you have the 2 candles that aren't touching, so then obviously it's 2. What would be the case that's problematic? How much space in between? You know, no such thing. No, that's how much in 2 different cases. Why is it so quiet all of a sudden?
Even if I have a menorah that, I've seen very small menorahs that the wicks are mamish one very close to the other.
That's 100% okay. You know why?
Why?
Because they're in different receptacles.
But it looks like.
But once you have different receptacles, that's the whole subject. When you have different receptacles, then it's defined. That's a good word. Then it defines it, which we're going to learn about that if we ever get moving over here. What?
Whenever it looks like Stein, who knows that? Ask Rob.
Okay. So I'll tell you what's good, but you have it. Anyway,
Is not the problem here that underneath they're attached? It's really one candle?
that's what it says. That's what the Mishnah says. That is not a problem. One would have thought possibly that is a problem. Kamash Malan, that's not a problem. That's exactly what the Mishnah says. Okay. Mila Kara Shemen Vikifa Psilis. The person filled up a bowl with shemen and he put psilis all around it. Im kafali kli ko psila oila b'shvil derechad. If you put a cover on it, so then each one becomes pronounced, and each one is oila l'nerechad. Like kafala kli, if you didn't put a kli on top of it, afilu l'nerechad ein oila. It doesn't even count as one. The fi shahu kimadura. Anybody can explain to you what I just said? What? If you put a cover on it, they don't join together, and they do it. We'll just see how much depends on how far they are.
Right. So you put a covering so that one don't join together. So one.
They won't join together. Why? They don't have feet. They don't walk around.
Putting some separator, that's going to separate the flames.
So if I don't have them, if they are not touching each other, the flames are not touching each other. What is the situation? It has to be exactly the same situation. With a cover, it's kosher, and without a cover at the same interval, it's no good. What?
It looks like a menorah.
Why will it look like a menorah? Because they're close together? And when you put the cover on, it does look like a menorah?
Each wick in its place in the flame hole.
1 second. When without the cover on it, the flames touch, and with the cover on it, the flames stay together?
No, I don't know if the flames will touch, but it will look. The flames will be much more mispashit than if you have a cover on it. It keeps the flame more.
Why is that?
Because the wick doesn't move. And
Either way, the wick's not moving.
Holds the wick in its place. Holds the wick in its place and keeps an equal distance between all the wicks. It won't join.
It doesn't say anywhere about equal distancing. You're reading a lot of stuff into it.
It says peh, and the peh has to stop it from looking like a menorah, right?
What is that?
It says mesa, a cover, and the cover is stopping it from making it look like a menorah.
Why does it stop it? Because it has a cover on it.
Right.
How does that make it stop it?
Because the cover makes a separation between the patilot.
How does the cover make a separation between the psilot?
Because the cover is going to have holes. Is going to have holes in it, and every patil is going to go up through a hole.
Well, you know what? You invented a cover that it doesn't say over here. I'm not arguing you that that's just like basically said. Each one has its own place.
How if you put a cover over the flames, otherwise you won't have any flame, because it'll extinguish the flames. If there's no holes in the cover, it'll extinguish the flames.
It depends how heavy the cover is. I would just like to ask the following question: is the difference in space going to be the same with and without the cover or not? Just answer a technical question.
Doesn't matter.
But no, it could be exactly the same space.
Yes.
So why without a cover does it look like a madura?
Because you don't have anything between it. There's no mechitza, so to speak. If you have individual cups that are very small, close to each other, it's the same type of distancing.
That I agree with. I have no problem with that. I just want to know when I don't have individual cups. So if I have them, going back to my question which I asked originally, one is on the north side, one is on the south side. What's the halacha?
Depends if there's something in between it or not.
Nothing in between it. One's on the north and one's on the south. What's the halacha? It looks like a madura. I'm not learning anything. I'm a Mishnah Berurah. You tell me. You read it. We'll have you sit here. Let's carry on.
The Mishnah Berurah's lashon in Gimel in Yudal, at the end of it, he says that that they appear like two, they're two. If they don't appear like two, then it's one.
What? 1 second. You didn't translate one word which you said. Bapeh. What does the peh mean? That means each one has its niche that it goes into. Isn't that what the word peh means?
What he was talking about, the one cup with the two things, it has state piot.
I don't know anything about one cup with two.
That's ner sheyesh shtei piot.
What?
That's on a ner sheyesh lo shtei piot.
Right,
is there a candle there, or is it a oil lamp?
It's an oil lamp that has two places for the wicks to lay.
Right.
Two separate niches.
I'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay.
That's two different niches. That's what I'm speaking about in Gimel.
If I make a black plate that has ruffled edges, is each one considered a peh?
I think so. I think that's the setting Gimel. Okay, let's.
So then the cover that I'm talking about is like having two niches then, because you're having holes in the cover that makes it having two niches.
I accept your answer. But it doesn't say that anywhere that that's what the cover has to look like. You created a certain cover that's only sold in a Hanukkah store. It doesn't say that. I accept your answer that it answered the question 100%. My trouble is I'm not so convinced that that's the cover that he's talking about.
It's the only answer that seems to work.
Okay, so far. It ain't over till it's over, right? That's what they say. Okay, so we'll see. Then we go right there and we'll see. I think that we're going to have an answer. I think I have an answer. Okay, Milakar Hashem Bekivu Psilas Im Kafala Im Kli Psul. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Where is this? The Ayidei Zeh Ein mischabrim kol apsilos yachad. They just don't touch, they stand in one place. What did he say? He said that if when you put it there, afterwards, you're not yaitza because you already weren't yaitza when you lit, right? That's what he says. That means that the wicks didn't move at all. You know, if it wouldn't be that there's a problem of hadlaka isa mitzvah, you could put on the wick, the cover afterwards. That means that the spacing is 100% okay. There's no problem of it looking like, but we need to create a P. And the Mishnah Berurah says, according to me, that when you put a cover on it, then you created a background for each light, and a background for each light makes it look distinct. That's how I understand the law. We're not talking ever about the P is one way of making it look distinct, and there's another way. Notice if I have to look at my finger like this, it's very difficult to see it. If I put a background behind it, so you're able to focus better. And that's why I understand that the Mishnah Berurah is saying when you put a cover on it, automatically each one stands out as an individual candle. We're not discussing the distance. We're discussing how prominent each one is by itself.
It singles each one out.
Accentuates.
Accentuates.
That's right. But it's not because it's going to move or not going to move. The distance, no, it makes each one stand out in its proper place, so to speak.
Okay. Understanding, even if the fire is the same big and they're touching equal with the cover, without the cover the etzem makes each.
I've arrived from the Mishnah Berurah, because the Mishnah Berurah says if you put the cover on afterwards, it doesn't work because hadlaka is a mitzvah. Why did you say? Because they're not gonna. That doesn't work.
Didn't you mention because they moved it and they didn't move?
No, it says that. Yeah, he does say that they're going to come together. But what does mischaber mean, though? Mischaber called psilas yachad. What does it mean, mischaber?
Together, but what are you saying?
So I'm saying it looks like one thing. I see them as one. That's I understand. All right. B'shur v'shav ha'ina lasas echad nichlas echad yaitze gam kein eno kedai shelo yovo lasas beigel. Okay. V'havi k'medura v'im yesh hefsek mechitza b'ner l'ner k'roich ha'vetza b'neihem mutter. If it has a etzla between, that's mutter. V'afilu lo kafa alei and kli. Even if you didn't put a kli on top of them. Why? Because the distance could forever the yichida. It makes it prominent that it has that far away.
It's a mechitza, though, it says. It says mechitza. Not distance, it's mechitza.
One more time?
He says if there's a mechitza, he doesn't say if there's distance.
Yeah, no. The mechitza makes it stand out as prominent.
Right, okay.
So there's an indicator.
He actually seems to say mechitza vecherofet, and the width of an etzba in between. Not just a mechitza, but also a width. Not either or.
Yeah, so that is, if I'm not mistaken, there's a discussion about that. What happens if you have the kli, and if that's enough by itself? That's not quite a discussion. Okay, I gotta go because I have to catch my